Welcome to the Megacast. I'm Tyler Keefe in the studios of our flagship stations, Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. We're on Comcast, Channel 15 and AT&T, Channel 99 in the greater West Bloomfield area, as well as in the Birmingham Bloomfield area on Birmingham Area Municipal Access, and in Southfield on City Cable 15. Join us on Channel 10 in Waterford, on the media network of Waterford, and on Channel 10, live to tape at 1 p.m. and 1 a.m. in Lake Orion and Orion Township on Orion Neighborhood Television. You can find us online on our Facebook pages at Civic Center TV 15 and at Lakes FM, and on our website, civiccentertv.com, by clicking on our Watch Live link on some of your devices, computers, some tablets. That will be at the top of the homepage on the right side of the screen, right between Carryout Club and On Demand, and then on your mobile phone and other devices that may go to our mobile website automatically. That will be in the left margin of the screen. There will be a drop-down menu you'll have to activate, and that'll be the second from the bottom of the screen. Click on Watch Live, and you'll be able to view us live on civiccentertv.com. You can also view us on My Michigan TV, otherwise known as My on the web on mymytv.com, where you can find us live from 10 a.m. to 12 noon. Find many of our segments on demand as well. View their other original programming, such as Steve Leto Live. Imported programming from creators all across the state of Michigan, all about the state of Michigan. And find out how you can subscribe for free and download both of their free smartphone and smart TV apps as well by going to mymytv.com or going to our website at civiccentertv.com/megacast, where you can get links to every single one of our partnering television, radio, and web outlets that join us every day here on the show. Learn more about the other programming they do in the 22 hours of the day that they're not joining us here on the Megacast, as well as on the weekends. Learn more about their programs and all the people that make their programming great as well by clicking on the links on our website at civiccentertv.com/megacast, where you'll also have links that will take you to on-demand video of all of our full episodes and each individual interview dating all the way back to our first show in March of 2020. Also on our website at civiccentertv.com, you can click on our coronavirus link to go to civiccentertv.com/coronavirus, where we have links to the COVID-19 web pages for the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services, and the Oakland County Health Division, so that you can stay up to date on everything that you need to know about COVID-19, including the spread of the virus, precautionary measures that you can take, when to take them, why they're effective, how they are most effective, as well as information on vaccines and booster shots in case you are interested in that information, want to learn more before you go, or find a place where you can make an appointment or you can walk in and get vaccinated against COVID-19 or get your booster shot to continue your protection against COVID-19 as we continue through this pandemic. Also on our coronavirus page, we scour journalistic outlets on TV, radio, print, and more all across the state of Michigan every day before our show to keep you up to date on stories that are important not only on the COVID-19 front, but all across the board, all across the state of Michigan. Making our top headline today from the Detroit Free Press on the COVID-19 front, Meijer will be offering free at-home PCR COVID-19 tests at stores in the Midwest. Meijer plans to offer those free tests to customers throughout the Midwest region of the U.S. The Grand Rapids-based company is partnering with True North and said in a release on Monday that it will be the first retailer to offer home PCR tests for free. Meijer has 254 pharmacies throughout the Midwest region. Here's how the process will work. First, you'll have to register at www.ineedacovid19test.com. That is a real website, ineedacovid19test.com, legitimate website. We clicked on it from this article. It does actually take you there. I know it doesn't sound right, but it is. ineedacovid19test.com. Then you'll complete an online assessment and select a local Meijer location. You'll then be provided a voucher that will be used to pick up the COVID-19 test kit. The voucher can be printed or shown on a smartphone. You'll then perform the self-collection nasal swab, return the specimen in the specimen bag to the same Meijer pharmacy where you picked up the test kit, deposit it into a designated drop box at the pharmacy, and then specimens will be returned the same day that they are collected. The specimen will be shipped to a certain lab for analysis assist with test results within 48 to 72 hours. You'll then receive an email when test results are available. Results and a printable report will be available in your account again at ineedacovid19test.com. A few additional details from the website to keep in mind. Every individual, including children, must be registered for their own account in their own name. Otherwise, the test result may not be processed. A person must log in to enter the activation code located on the tube before taking the test, and that'll be the tube of the test that you get from the kit. Shipping, weather, or traffic or unforeseen circumstances may impact turnaround time for results. If you have symptoms, tests may be picked up and specimens may be dropped off by a family member or a friend with proof of the voucher. Meijer is encouraging customers who use the service to wear a face mask when picking up a test or dropping off the specimen as well. The testing is performed under contract with the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. Coral May, True North CEO, said the option should, quote, dramatically increase Americans' access to COVID-19 testing. Well, at least in the Midwest, as this is only where this will be done with Meijer stores. The state health department announced last month it would be making 5,500 at-home COVID-19 test kits available at 18 libraries across Michigan in a pilot project. The initial test kits went to libraries in Calhoun, Clare, Newaygo, Oceana, Saginaw counties, and in the cities of Detroit and Taylor in Wayne County. It has not yet sent additional tests to participating libraries or expanded the project to more locations because of a national shortage on over-the-counter COVID-19 tests, says Lynn Sutphin, spokesperson for the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services. The health department does plan to speak with the Michigan Library Association about expanding to more sites as testing supplies allow. The Rockefeller Foundation has also announced last week on Friday, they announced that Michigan will be one of 6 states to receive free COVID-19 tests for vulnerable communities. Project Access COVID-19 Tests, or Project ACT, will provide free at-home COVID tests from www.accesscovidtests.org. Again, a real website, accesscovidtests.org. They could not have made these sound more fake, but they are very much real. That website, accesscovidtests.org. It initially plans to deliver 1.1 million tests to at-risk residents in Arkansas, Illinois, Maine, Michigan, New Mexico, and Ohio before expanding across the country. The federal government is also mailing 4 free at-home rapid antigen tests to households via covidtests.gov, again, a real website. Orders are supposed to ship within 7 to 12 days. Those with disabilities can place orders by calling 888-677-1199, 888-677-1199 from 9 a.m. until 8 p.m. Monday through Friday, or by emailing dial at UC. This is a wordy. Yes, USAgingAndDisability.org. Thank you, Calvin, for helping me read. I am blonde, and I am a Michigan State grad. It's very tough to read. In addition, for those having trouble accessing the internet or needing additional help placing an order for the federal government tests, you can call 800-232-0233. That is 800-232-0233 to get assistance in more than 150 languages from 8 p.m. to midnight, 8 a.m. to midnight, 7 days a week. The federal government is also giving 400 million adult N95 masks from the National Strategic Stockpile, masks that are available at retailers such as Meijer, CVS, Walgreens, Kroger, Costco, Rite Aid, Walmart, and Sam's Club. More information from this article from the Detroit Free Press, as well as supporting materials and access to, again, those very real websites for these testing kits on our website, civiccentertv.com/coronavirus. Also making headlines today on our webpage at civiccentertv.com/coronavirus. Look out your window if it is safe to do so right now. It is very much snowing out there. Winter storm warnings are in effect all across lower Michigan at this time. And the Detroit News, very helpful article of where the highest snow totals are expected to be as of this morning when we took this article from their website and reposted it on our website with a link, of course, to the Detroit News, so you can find more of their articles and subscribe to that publication should you have the means to do so. A winter storm warning has been declared for all of southern lower Michigan for Wednesday and for Thursday. Counties under a National Weather Service winter storm warning duration and expected snowfall include Washtenaw, Wayne, Lenawee, and Monroe counties from 6 a.m. Wednesday today to 10 p.m. Thursday tomorrow, with 11 to 15 inches of snow expected. Sand Lake, Shiawassee, Genesee, Lapeer, St. Clair, Livingston, and Oakland and Macomb counties, 4 a.m. today until 7 a.m. tomorrow, 9 inches to 13 inches of snow. Eaton, Ingham, Van Buren, Kalamazoo, Calhoun, and Jackson counties we're under a warning from 2 a.m. today, and that will go through 11 p.m. on Thursday. Expected 6 to 10 inches of snow. Berry County, 2 a.m. Wednesday to 11 p.m. Thursday, 7 to 10 inches. Cass, Berry, and Branch and Hillsdale counties, 1 a.m. today until 7 p.m. on Thursday, 10 to 20 inches of snow expected in those counties. In preparation, residents in southeast Michigan were flocking to stores like Aldi and Highland Park on a sunny and unusually warm Tuesday morning to stock up on non-perishable items and other food items ahead of the storm. Ruth Lloyd Harlan of Highland Park added 2 cartons of water from her shopping cart to the one she already had in her car as she finished unloading the heaping stack of groceries she came out of the store with. She said, quote, "I've got some food to cook for dinner and some goodies, but my refrigerator at home is already kind of full. I just came and got some necessities," and closed quote. She recently retired from her position in the mayor of Highland Park's office and was looking forward to continuing organizing her drawers and donating things she did not need, a head start on her spring cleaning. Still, the coming storm made her nervous about getting locked in and shoveling snow, though her next-door neighbor usually helps, and her son was planning on coming over before work on Wednesday. She also forgot to buy salt to help melt the snow and said she would have gone back to the hardware store to get some before it got too crowded when people left work in the afternoon. Early in the morning, residents stopped by Lowe's and Home Depot in Madison Heights to stock up on last-minute snow supplies, including salt, snow blowers, window insulation kits, and small space heaters. Northwest Ohio areas that include Toledo are under a winter storm warning as well, expecting 10 to 16 inches of snow today. Quote, "Travel could be very difficult to impossible," says the National Weather Service. Continuing patchy, blowing snow could significantly reduce visibility. The heaviest snow is expected late Wednesday and into Thursday, with the highest amounts edged from I-94 in Ann Arbor to the Detroit corridor southward, according to the National Weather Service. Risks with the storm include brisk winds with low visibility, impassable roads due to high snow, and dropping temperatures. Quote, "Plummeting wind chills accompanied by blowing and drifting snow could bring a potentially lethal travel situation, with wind chills far below zero if you become stuck in your vehicle Thursday night," and closed quote from the National Weather Service. That full article with supporting materials from the Detroit News, as well as updates on that article throughout the day, as they will be one of many journalistic outlets across the state of Michigan providing updates on this winter storm. That article linked on our website, civiccentertv.com/coronavirus, and you can find our other articles as well. We got one additional article today that for time we will not get to at this moment, but we have a great show ahead of you today on this snowy Thursday all across the state of Michigan. Coming up next from the Farmington Players, David Reinke and Erica Gunaca will be here to tease their upcoming production of Tokens of Affection that will be beginning in the middle of this month. At the bottom of the hour at 10:40, Tara Thomasek-Husak, the CEO and president of the Troy Chamber of Commerce, will join us on the Megacast to talk about their 2022 Excellence Awards. At 11 o'clock, we'll be joined by Kris Hall, the VP of Certified Insurance Counselor at the Kleinschmidt Agency, which is a division of Meadowbrook Insurance Agency, will join us to talk about National Identity Theft Awareness Week, including prevention tactics, mitigation tactics, and more. That will be coming up at 11 o'clock. At 11:20, Carrie Kaz, the Azure Haunted House and Rage Rooms manager, will join us on the program. And then at 11:20, so that'll be at 11:20, and then at 11:40, Nichole Ferguson Bostick from the West Bloomfield Diversity Task Force will join us on the Megacast. That's all coming up next. You're watching and listening to the Megacast.
When times get dark, we can't see the help that's all around us. When you don't know where to turn, Let 211 be your guiding light.
How can I help you?
Our guides are ready to connect you with the help you need. For help with food, healthcare, mental health, and other resources. Call 211 or visit 211.org. 211. Get connected, get help.
We may come from different organizations,
but we work together to protect the Huron River for everyone.
Neighborhood storm drains carry water directly to local creeks and streams. No filters, no treatment.
Storm drains also help reduce street flooding when it rains.
So clearing storm drains and the areas nearby of trash and leaves helps keep them for rain only.
It is easy to do your part by adopting a storm drain.
Find a storm drain, check it, and clear it every month.
So keep storm drains for rain only.
There's one water, and it's ours to protect.
If you are struggling to afford your internet bills during the pandemic, there's a temporary government program that may be able to help. It's called the Emergency Broadband Benefit, and it provides up to a $50 monthly discount on your broadband bill to qualifying households. Find more information about the program, including if you qualify and how to enroll, at fcc.gov/broadbandbenefit or call toll-free at 833-511-0311.
A public service announcement from 89.3 Lakes FM.
We as Michiganders feel connected to this resource in a way that I think is really powerful.
Conservation starts with a caring, committed community.
For me, it's peaceful to have a relationship with the river.
Every single one of us has a role to make sure that those waterways stay safe and healthy, being careful about what goes down the storm drain.
Just even eliminating some of your single-use plastic makes a difference.
There's one water, and it's ours to protect.
Did you know that nearly 3.31 million Americans don't get their annual checkup? Going to the doctor regularly is extremely important and is a crucial factor in maintaining good health. Make sure you are visiting your local doctor often and telling them about any health concerns you have. For more information, contact your local healthcare provider. This message is brought to you by WBHS Digital Media Arts Program and 89.3 Lakes FM.
People are getting out to walk and bike in higher numbers. More vulnerable road users and higher speed traffic can be a dangerous combination. Crash severity has increased, so if you're driving, be sure to slow down and look for people. There's no need to speed. If you're biking, ride with traffic. If you're walking, avoid stepping into the road if possible. If you have to walk in the street, walk facing traffic. Learn more at walkbikedrivesafe.org.
Welcome back to the Megacast. I'm Tyler Keefe. You can learn more about the show by visiting our website at civiccentertv.com and clicking on our Megacast link, where you'll find links to all of our partnering television, radio, and web outlets that join us Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. until 12 noon, as well as live to tape in the afternoons and on replay throughout the weekend and on the weekends. And also find all of our shows and each individual interview on demand. Again, that's civiccentertv.com/Megacast. Joining us now from the Farmington Players and their production of Tokens of Affection, we're joined by actress Erica Gunaca, as well as David Reinke, the director of the show, also from the Farmington Players. Thank you for being with us today.
Thank you very much for having us.
Appreciate having you both on. So, David, let's start with you. Tell us first about your background, and how you came to be the director of this particular show at the Farmington Players.
Well, I've been a member of the Farmington Players for about almost 20 years now, and I've been involved in theater throughout the area for probably about 35 years. As far as being involved with this, when I read the script, I fell in love with it. And even more when I was researching it, the playwright Topher Payne is actually from Atlanta, and I happened to find out at the time that we were doing pitches for the director's position that there was a group down in Atlanta area, actually a little north of Atlanta, doing the production. So kind of at the last minute, I decided to fly down and see the show. Met a wonderful group of people down there. Wonderful production, and fell in love with it. It's not your typical love story, and it's actually the very perfect show for the Valentine's holiday. It's basically about two people who have been married for 37 years, and kind of that empty nest syndrome where the kids are grown up, they're kind of off on their own, and they kind of forgot to nurture that love a little bit. They learned, they do big things, going to Niagara Falls, doing, big grand trips and everything, but they forgot the little things, the, greetings at the door, the compliments, the tokens of affection.
And so, Erica, for you, auditioning for this show, what attracted you to Tokens of Affection at the Farmington Players as a show that you wanted to be involved in front of the stage and on the stage performing for the audience?
Yeah, that's a good question. Well, I first read the script, and I had never done a show at Farmington. I know Dave, throughout the network here, and know that he has done some great work. And reading the script, I fell in love with it. I think that not a lot of shows or movies or anything like that really portrays what it's like to navigate love throughout the years and growing old together and all that stuff. So that attracted to me initially, and I was cast while not being a longtime Farmington Barn member, which makes me not liar. However, right away joined, was welcomed with open arms. It's just been everything and more. The stage has been like an actor's playground. Dave encourages bold choices and kooky choices, and is our biggest fan. So it's just been lovely.
So David, you told us a little bit about a little bit of the gist of the story, or some of the common themes of Tokens of Affection, which will begin running February 11th at the Farmington Players, as well as February 26th, as well as more information on farmingtonplayers.org. But give us a little bit of a synopsis of the crux of the story. What is the story about? What can people be expecting to experience when they do view Tokens of Affection at the Farmington Players in mid-February?
Well, basically, the story starts off with Charlie, who's the son. Erica plays Claire, who's his sister. And he lives kind of a solitary life. He has a neighbor who lives across the hall from him and everything, and she shows up for some comic relief. But he finds out that his parents are splitting up after 37 years of marriage. The reason why is his mother says his father never bought her flowers, never gave her flowers, which really is a metaphor for, again, the tokens of affection, the small little things that going on. So the father shows up at his house, his apartment. The mother then descends down to the daughter's home, and the two of them kind of have to get together to try to get their parents back together, because they don't want to have to be having these separate homes and everything like that, because that's disrupting their lives, how they've been going. So it's a very sweet love story, but it's got a lot of comedy and a lot of heart to it.
And then, so Erica, for you, you're playing the part of Claire, who's one of the children of this separating couple. That's at the crux of this story. What about Claire attracted you to audition for that? And then what about Claire as a character is enjoyable for you to experience as an actor and as a performer, growing into this role and building this role for this edition of Tokens of Affection?
Love these questions. I feel like I'm a real actor when you ask them. Thank you. So thank you for asking. She's very much... What drew me to her was, like, I'm a Friends fan, as we all are. And I feel like Claire is like if Rachel and Monica had a baby, like she's the hybrid of those two. So initially my friend's heart was like, yes. But, reading it and going further into the character, she's very much structured. Nothing can go wrong. And it's a comedy, so everything's going wrong. So you can only imagine what she's reacting like. She's bossy, but ultimately, I love that underneath all of that, there's layers. She loves her family. She wants everyone to be a 10 out of 10. And I think that, showing more of like the vulnerability in a person like that, who, every day you don't see, is kind of like an actor's like nom nom snack.
We're joined by Erica Gunaca, one of the actors playing Claire in Tokens of Affection, which will be at the Farmington Players on February 11th and February 26th. Adult tickets, $22, and student tickets or seniors cost $20. More information on their website at farmingtonplayers.org. We're also joined by David Reinke, the director of Tokens of Affection. And so, David, it's interesting because this play is being performed at the Farmington Players right around the time of Valentine's Day, and people are going out on their Valentine's Day dates, or they're going out and just having a good time, and maybe they're there with their significant other. And it's kind of a weird situation because this play, you're trying to lean into the theme of love, and then you're going to see this play that at its base is about a longtime couple, a couple that has been married for almost 40 years, splitting up. So why is this still, despite all of that, and despite the crux of this story, why is this such an interesting play to go and view during this time of the year for individuals or even for couples?
Well, I think that basically you get a not your typical A plus B love connection. Most love stories, romantic comedies, start with a 20-something meets another 20-something, and some happenstance happens, but in the end they fall in love. This is what happens after the happily ever after. And again, I think a lot of people can relate, whether they're starting off as a new couple or whether they've been a couple for a long time, that maybe, maybe we shouldn't lose sight of the small things, the little things. Everybody can do grand gestures, but if you lose sight of the little things, you kind of lose sight of how to nurture that love. And I hope that when the audiences leave, they leave with a happy heart, and they hope that they don't lose sight of the little things that really make love grand.
And then, Erica, you mentioned a little bit about what makes playing Claire an enjoyable experience for you as an actor, but in general, acting in Tokens of Affection. Why is this story something that resonates with you as an actor, and then on a personal level as well?
I think Dave hit it. It's not like, oh, I'm 20 and my glasses fell off and he suddenly thinks I'm gorgeous, like all those rom-coms, the 90s, and I think this is a cool take on, hey, you gotta grow old with this person, so what happens next? And I think that a lot of us question, will I lose myself? Will I forget about those small things? It's not about flying to Belize, when you're older anymore, or even now at my age or anyone's age. It's about just the small little acts that you can do to show someone that you think of them. So I think that's what stood out in terms of a show like this really hasn't been done anywhere.
We're joined by Erica Gunaca, one of the actors in Tokens of Affection, playing Claire, with us on the Megacast, as well as the director of the show, David Reinke, from the Farmington Players. You can learn more information about the show, which will be running between February 11th and February 26th at the Farmington Players, by visiting their website, farmingtonplayers.org. And so, Erica, the COVID-19 pandemic obviously has thrown a whole lot of wrinkles into performance of all kinds, and especially stage plays such as Tokens of Affection. For you, how has the experience of continuing to act during the COVID-19 pandemic, and particularly in a play that's during the ongoing crisis that we're in, how has that changed your approach to acting, as well as what you are accustomed to in the audition process, in the rehearsal process, and then in the performance process as well?
Yeah. Well, we're back, so I'm so happy because I was so sad. auditioning, I mean, and we're being so cautious, tests every week and masks and things like that. The extra steps that we have to take to keep everyone safe is just easy because we've lost theater and we know what it's like to miss it and love it. And so having it back is like, yeah, I will do whatever it takes to make sure that we can do this and keep everyone safe. And I especially think that in a time like this, like, you want entertainment. You want to get lost in something else. And, TV, Netflix, and chill is great, but like going to live theater and having an experience with a bunch of people was so missed. I know a lot of people miss that. So that's kind of like, I lost my baby, now I have it. So let's just like keep it forever.
And same with you, David. It's a different perspective, I would imagine, as a director versus a performer in a play like this, or in any form of in-person entertainment that was suspended for good reason during the bulk of the pandemic. So for you as a director coming back into the theater with another production here with Tokens of Affection, how has it changed your approach to directing these shows, knowing what the actors have been through and what you and other directors who have been away from the stage at certain points during the pandemic because of COVID-19, how's that changed your perspective coming back to the theater?
Well, as Erica said, it's something that we all missed. People who really loved the theater and loved, doing it. I actually, normally I wouldn't have done this, but I actually was in the last production, The Honey Jack Christmas. I decided to audition and got cast in that. So I decided I didn't have enough to do, so I was directing, and then I was acting right before that. As far as, approaches, again, it's just, we decided to, do smaller productions. This is a cast of 6. We were rehearsing with masks on, which unfortunately you don't see the facial expressions of people on things. So then we moved to not wearing masks, but we're doing weekly testing with the cast and everything. And, I know that, with the Omni variant, that it's, pulls another wrinkle into a lot of things, but we're just trying to keep everybody safe, and have an enjoyable experience. I know that, one of the changes that we had, the Farmington Players, is we are requiring patrons as well as the cast and crew to be vaccinated. And when they come, anyone 12 and over needs to show proof of vaccination with their ID when they show up.
I'm joined by David Reinke, the director of Tokens of Affection, as well as Erica Gunaca, who is one of the actors in the show Tokens of Affection through the Farmington Players, which will be going on February 11th through February 26th at the Farmington Players. More information on their website at farmingtonplayers.org, where you can also purchase tickets. $22 for adults, and tickets for students or seniors cost $20. And as David said, patrons must provide proof of vaccination and ID in order to gain entry into the theater. And then on top of that, mask wearing also is required in the theater. And so, David, for those that are interested in another production in the future with the Farmington Players, or in supporting the Farmington Players, how can they get more information, or how can they go about maybe joining future shows, either on stage or behind the scenes on the crew?
Well, we do have, actually, our next show, Death Trap, is coming up. That actually, tickets go on sale for that on the day that Tokens of Affection opens. We do have auditions for that. Right now, we're kind of keeping that in the membership, but you can join to become a member if you want to audition. That's what Erica did. And also, if you want to work back behind the scenes, you can reach out at farmingtonplayers.org. There's emails on there to the president at farmingtonplayers.org. And if anyone wants to get involved, we always welcome anybody to come in there. We're always looking for new people to have a great experience on there. New people brings in new insights and new ideas.
David, Erica, thank you both for joining us on today's edition of the Megacast. We look forward to Tokens of Affection at the Farmington Players coming up later on this month, February 11th through 26th at the Farmington Players. Thank you both for joining us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for having us.
Again, you can learn more information, farmingtonplayers.org. Purchase tickets, $22 for adults. Students and seniors, $20 each. You do need to provide proof of vaccination, show your ID card, and wear a mask in the theater as well in order to attend these shows. Again, February 11th through February 26th. You can learn more information and purchase tickets at farmingtonplayers.org or by calling the Farmington Players box office, 248-553-2955. That is 248-553-2955. We're going to take a break on the Megacast. Coming up, we'll head over to Troy, and we'll speak to the CEO of the Troy Chamber of Commerce, Tara Tomasic-Husak, about everything that's going on in the business community in Troy, how they're faring at this point in the pandemic with the Omicron variant spreading around, with the additional precautions that were taken at the peak of the spread of the Omicron variant, with everything else going on in our community as well, and their upcoming Business Excellence Awards. Also, that's all coming up next. You are watching and listening to the Megacast.
When times get dark, we can't see the help that's all around us. When you don't know where to turn, let 211 be your guiding light.
How can I help you?
Our guides are ready to connect you with the help you need. For help with food, healthcare, mental health, and other resources. Call 211 or visit 211.org. 211. Get connected, get help.
Parents do a lot of worrying. Get your kids caught up on childhood vaccines to protect them from these 14 preventable diseases, and you'll have 14 fewer things to worry about. Vaccines are safe and effective and save lives. So let's get caught up on vaccines and worry about something else. Get the facts at ivaccinate.org.
We may come from different organizations,
But we work together to protect the Huron River for everyone.
Most of the pollution that goes into our rivers is carried by rainwater that flows off of roads, parking lots, and rooftops.
The leaves and bark of a single tree can retain a surprising amount of rainwater. Depending on its size and species, it could be 100 gallons or more.
It is estimated that an urban forest can reduce annual runoff by up to 7%.
Here's one thing that we know can help keep our water clean.
Plant a tree.
Plant a tree.
Plant a tree.
There's one water, and it's ours to protect.
One of the things you can look for in your friends is a change in behavior. These can be big changes, they can be small changes in mood, physical appearance. They may be sleeping less or sleeping more, drinking more, or their eating patterns may be different. One big change that can be pretty obvious is change in motivation. Do they no longer want to play basketball? Do they no longer want to play video games? Now that we're spending more time online and in virtual settings, it's really important to pay attention to the language that your friend is using and the words they're using to communicate.
So when we text our friends, are they taking longer amounts of time to respond? Are they not responding at all?
You don't have to be an expert to try to recognize these signs. The second that you feel it in your gut and that you're concerned, that's the second to have the conversation and open the door to what might be going on.
Today, it is easier than ever to join Michigan's Organ Donor Registry and help build a bridge of hope for organ, tissue, and eye donation. Just one person can potentially save or help improve the lives of up to 75 people. By joining, your legacy could be the gift of life. Sign up today at michigan.gov/SOS or at any of the more than 145 Secretary of State self-service stations located across Michigan. Be part of Michigan's Bridge of Hope by adding your name to the Organ Donor Registry.
When times get dark, we can't see the help that's all around us. when you don't know where to turn. Let 211 be your guiding light.
How can I help you?
Our guides are ready to connect you with the help you need. For help with food, healthcare, mental health, and other resources. Call 211 or visit 211.org. 211. Get connected, get help.
If you are struggling to afford your internet bills during the pandemic, there's a temporary government program that may be able to help. It's called the Emergency Broadband Benefit, and it provides up to a $50 monthly discount on your broadband bill to qualifying households. Find more information about the program, including if you qualify and how to enroll, at fcc.gov/broadbandbenefit or call toll-free at 833-511-0311.
A public service announcement from 89.3 Lakes FM.
Whether you're the city,
the county,
or the Huron River Watershed Council,
we work together to protect water resources for everyone.
Most of the pollution entering our rivers is carried by rainwater that runs off roads, parking lots, and rooftops.
A rain garden helps catch stormwater runoff.
Rain gardens and their plants help dirty runoff soak into the ground.
You can do your part to help keep our water clean.
Learn about rain gardens and native plants.
So consider a rain garden in your home landscaping.
Catch the runoff with a rain garden.
There's one water, and it's ours to protect.
I couldn't breathe at all. There was lots of talk about putting me on a ventilator. I thought I was gonna die. I was 39 weeks pregnant and had a scheduled C-section. During that time, I got COVID and was hospitalized for a month. I had a blood clot in my lungs. It caused me to go into right-sided heart failure. I was really scared. I kept texting my husband and my mom, telling them how scared I was, and I was worried that he was gonna grow up without a mom. And then I was worried if, when I did get home, that he wouldn't know who I was. You know, being 27 and a mom and a wife and having that all almost taken away from me. It's scary, and if a vaccine can prevent that from happening, why not? Get your vaccine. I don't want this to happen to anybody else.
A message from the staff of Michigan's Crime Victim Compensation Program.
Anyone can be a victim of crime
and suffer lasting trauma, physically, emotionally, and financially.
But you are not alone.
If you're struggling financially due to a crime,
we're here for you.
Find out if you qualify for crime victim compensation.
Call 877-251-7373 or visit michigan.gov/crime-victim.
A message from the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services, Division of Victim Services.
Joining us now is Tara Thomas-Cusack, the president and CEO of the Troy Chamber of Commerce, back with us on the Megacast. Tara, thank you for being with us.
Good to see you guys again.
Appreciate having you on. So how are things going over in Troy and with that business community? Because where we're at in the COVID-19 pandemic is kind of an interesting spot. As businesses were coming back into somewhat regular form, as were customers coming back more regularly into a lot of our businesses, and then the Omicron variant comes into play and kind of shakes things up. And it's very similar in some ways to where we began this pandemic, and in other ways, very much a blend of the past and the present.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, that sounds about right. The reality is that every day has become a new challenge. Now, with that being said, I would say most of our businesses have still been really resilient in that aspect. So they're just keeping safety at the forefront, but they're running business as usual. So it's nice to see more people still coming into the office, but we're still seeing an increase in safety precautions as well. So it's one of those things. It's just one giant circle, and every day is new, and we have to just figure out how to help our members.
And one of the ongoing concerns of businesses across the board in Michigan and throughout the U.S. has been staffing over the last several months, really over the last year, as businesses have began to reopen, as some of those regulations and restrictions that were in place were lifted, and these companies needed to refill those positions that were emptied earlier on in the pandemic from furloughs or layoffs, or whatever the case may be, or to replace those that moved on to other jobs or other careers altogether. In Troy, how are our businesses faring in filling some of those job openings at this time, as the job market's kind of fluctuated between people taking these jobs and people being more hesitant to take these jobs?
You know, it goes both ways. What I will say is Troy is lucky. We are absolutely having a staffing issue. That is not something I'm going to gloss over. But what I will say is that we're also surrounded by some of the best staffing companies in the area. So Troy is actually home to so many of them, and we have so many members who work to help people find their staffs. So these recruitment firms have been really helpful. I will say, from an advice standpoint, if you are struggling to find staff, that is something to be paying attention to. Look at these recruitment firms. In addition, we actually started and launched our jobs board last year. And so now we're actually working with our members to promote their jobs that are going out. So we're promoting jobs that are available on social media, in our Monday e-newsletter, things of that nature. So we opened it up for our members to post jobs for free. And we've actually filled quite a few jobs. So we're doing pretty good with that category and really trying to push that initiative forward.
We're joined by Tara Thomasik-Husak. She is the president and CEO of the Troy Chamber of Commerce, joining us on the Megacast. And so with all these changes that are constantly happening, and these businesses need to be able to balance, of course, the need for safety protocols to be in place to keep their employees safe, to keep their customers safe, to keep the community safe, but also the constant change that we've been experiencing over these 2 years plus almost of this pandemic. What sort of advice or what sort of guidance is being provided by the Chamber for these businesses to help them continue to navigate these constant changes, but also ready themselves to, when things do clear up eventually and we create whatever normal is going to be in the post-pandemic world, that they can hit the gas right away and start to really emphasize that momentum?
Yeah, I mean, we stay abreast of everything. So when a lot of it, while we're talking about staffing and we're talking about some of these resources, our businesses sometimes are struggling they're used to seeing face-to-face meetings. They're used to being able to go out there. And we've opened up more. Like we said, we've increased our safety precautions, but we're doing in-person events again. We're still allowing networking to happen, but we're doing it safely. In addition, we spend a lot of time, I can tell you, every weekend. All I'm doing is researching new grant fundings, new things that we can help not only our businesses, but some of our nonprofit industries. And then we're actually, as we're going through it, if we see something that fits some of our members, we email it to them. Because as we know, if you have no staff and you're struggling with that, you don't have that extra time to see what are the resources available. So we're kind of utilizing our time to make sure we can get those resources directly to our members instead of them having to hunt it down.
We're joined by Tara Thomasik-Husak, the president and CEO of the Troy Chamber of Commerce, joining us on the Megacast. And so we're just about out of the month of January, and some exciting events coming up in February through the Chamber of Commerce there in Troy. On the 24th, the Chamber will be putting on a virtual version of its Business Excellence Awards presented by the Children's Hospital of Michigan. Can you tell us about these awards? It's still possible to submit nominations for businesses or for individuals for the awards coming up in February.
So there's the nominations are closed. We're actually really excited. So we actually started the voting process last week. We already have almost 4,000 votes that have already come in. We have 12 categories, and thanks to our presenting sponsor, Children's Hospital of Michigan, we couldn't have done it without them. And then each of our awards also has a sponsor that helped dedicate to make sure that this event could actually happen. But we had over 90 nominees, and the votes are just piling in. And it's great because I think everyone has had a rough year of some sort. We still have to remember we need to celebrate the achievements and accomplishments of not only some of our business professionals, but some of the great work that our companies have been doing. And if you actually go to our website, you can take a look and read about all the great things that some of these members are doing, whether it be the Panda One team from Children's Hospital of Michigan. It's the helicopter that will go and immediately be able to get to these pediatric patients and bring them back to the hospital quickly and more efficiently. To the Detroit Zoo, at how they created this most innovative process of making sure that they could still meet and educate the younger generation through their vitamin Z program. So really good stuff. It's just really exciting to see all these people stepping up.
You can learn more about the Troy Chamber and about this upcoming event by visiting their website at troychamber.com. We're joined by the president and CEO of the Troy Chamber of Commerce, Tara Thomas-Cusack, on the Megacast. And so for those that are interested in the Business Excellence Awards coming up on February 24th, now that the nominations are closed and voting has already begun, how can they participate if they'd like to join in on this event?
Sure. So it's actually a live stream event. We are going to be in a studio doing a recording, and it's going to be almost like watching the Oscars, but you can watch it directly on your laptop. So I would just say go to troychamber.com. Make sure you vote. Read the great things that our members are doing, because you can actually get a little blurb of each of the nominations so you can understand all the great things that are happening in the community. Vote for some of these great business professionals, and then also make sure you're shopping local and supporting your local businesses. We have so many sponsors who have helped to sponsor some of these awards and these events. Make sure you're looking at their businesses as well, because as we know, they're the ones giving back to the community. We should be paying attention to them as well.
We're joined by Tara Thomas-Cusack, the president and CEO of the Troy Chamber of Commerce. Again, all that information on how you can vote and how you can learn more about some of these great businesses doing great things in Troy and the surrounding area by visiting their website at troychamber.com. And so as we've endured so many of these changes throughout the pandemic, of course, unfortunately, we've lost a lot of our local businesses, but a lot of other businesses have arisen from those ashes as well, and as people have transitioned into different career paths or have decided to take the plunge and begin their business as well. What are some of the more exciting or notable businesses that have sprung up in Troy of late that you can tell us about?
So what actually is not necessarily sprung up, it's kind of the creation, and it's actually one of our nominees. And Cadillac Automotive Products, so Cadillac Products, they worked in automotive components, and there's a really great story about how the CEO's niece actually came up and during the pandemic and said, a lot of us nurses were wearing garbage bags right now. So obviously that was a problem. So she actually was asking, hey, can we get some garbage bags so we can wear this to protect ourselves in the hospital? Now, that is just mind-blowing that this happened early in the pandemic. Well, they saw this, listened to it, and said, well, no, absolutely not. We are not going to give you garbage bags. What we're going to do is we're going to create the product you need right here in Troy, Michigan. So Cadillac Products teamed up and they started creating PPE gowns for these nurses to wear, where we didn't have to worry about supply chain management of having it come from China or overseas. It was directly here in Troy, Michigan. And that's some of the great success stories. So as we have a company that is listening to a need, they actually built, now they're doing this as another part of their company, and they're building this product. And to me, I find it so inspiring to hear when you hear businesses listening to what the real need is and actually being able to pivot and build a brand new business around it. And actually Mike Williams, who is the CEO of that sector, he's actually going to be our CEO speaker and talk to us about some of those great initiatives and how that all worked out together. And that's going to actually be in March as well. But it's success stories like that. It's showing our businesses and showcasing all the great things that they're doing. And we hear these stories every day.
We're joined by Troy Chamber of Commerce President and CEO Tara Thomas-Cusack on the Megacast. You can learn more information about the Chamber as well as access a number of its great resources by visiting their website at troychamber.com. Tara, just another couple minutes with you. Anything else that we should be keeping in mind about the Troy business community at this time, or other exciting news and information we haven't spoken about today just yet?
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, I would just say if you're not a member of a chamber, you should join. If you're a business, there is no greater time, because as we're seeing businesses, there's a new hurdle every day. Let us help you. Let us be that resource. Let us help you connect. That's our job, and that's what we're here for. And again, if anyone has any questions, feel free to reach out to any of us. We're always here.
Tara, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
If you are struggling to afford your internet bills during the pandemic, there's a temporary government program that may be able to help. It's called the Emergency Broadband Benefit, and it provides up to a $50 monthly discount on your broadband bill to qualifying households. Find more information about the program, including if you qualify and how to enroll, at fcc.gov/broadbandbenefit or call toll-free at 833-511-0311.
A public service announcement from 89.3 Lakes FM.
You see certain things get reincarnated in your children. My daughter is very much inspired by my wife's artistic pursuits. So my daughter started making necklaces. She makes what we call affirmation fashion. I tell her every day that your black is beautiful. Your black is beautiful. Your black is beautiful. And if there's anything better than being beautiful, it's being smart. And if there's anything better than being smart, it's being kind. And reaffirming that every day is our method of making sure her chin never drops. My dad wasn't around, and I remember riding a bike and falling off and cutting myself, and me never just wanting to get back on it. People ask, how your children learn how to ride a bike, and you did. I didn't teach them. I just created an environment where they taught themselves, and all I had to do was be there.
Whether you're the city,
the county,
or the Huron River Watershed Council.
As partners, working together to protect our water resources, we agree.
Pet waste is a source of harmful bacteria in the Huron River.
When it's left on the ground, it can wash into the storm drains.
These lead directly to our streams. No filters, no treatment.
Here's one thing we know that can help keep our water clean.
Pick up pet waste and trash it.
Pick up pet waste and trash it.
So pick up pet waste and trash it.
There's one water, and it's ours to protect.
Who is struggling right now?
I am.
My son is.
Many are struggling with anxiety, depression, and substance use. Before it becomes a crisis, reach out to MyCal, the Michigan Crisis and Access Line, for free confidential support 24/7. Available in the Upper Peninsula and Oakland County. Just call or text 1-844-44-MyCal or chat online at michigan.gov/MyCal. A message from the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services.
Motorcyclists are hard to see. To keep everyone safer, it's important to always look for them and know where most crashes occur. 84% of motorcycle and vehicle crashes happen on streets, not highways. And most crashes with motorcyclists occur when vehicle drivers are turning left. So before turning, especially to the left, make sure you look for motorcyclists. Then look again. It could save a life.
To Sophia and Gabriel, even though these old knees can't follow on your adventure to the forest today, these flowers represent my love. These stitches and threads join us together. And wherever you see a flower, a bird, a beautiful tree, know that my love is with you.
Make the forest part of your story at a park near you. Find one at discovertheforest.org.
Welcome back to the Megacast. I'm Tyler Keefe. You can learn more about the show by visiting our website at civiccentertv.com and clicking on our Megacast link. You will learn more about our partnering television and web stations, as well as your radio homes for the Megacast. 89.3 WBLD Orchard Lake and 88.1 WBFH Bloomfield Hills. Joining us now is Kris Hall. He's the Vice President and a Certified Insurance Counselor at the Kleinschmidt Agency, which is a division of the Meadowbrook Insurance Agency. Joining us on the Megacast, as this week, January 31st through February 4th, is National Identity Theft Awareness Week. Learn more information at identitytheft.gov. Kris, thank you for being with us today.
You bet, Tyler. Good to be with you.
Good to be with you as well. So while we're on the topic of identity theft, with this being National Identity Theft Week, it comes in many different forms. So for those that may have heard the term but may not know the exact definition or the broad form of the definition of identity theft, what defines what identity theft is, and what are some of the different ways in which someone's identity may be stolen?
That is a great question. We kind of throw around the term identity theft as a broad brush type of term. That could be anything from having your credit card stolen and used without your knowledge, all the way to including having your social security number stolen and taxes filed on your behalf to steal your tax return. Really anything that surrounds your identity, financially, or even things like a breach on your computer where they hold your computer hostage until you pay them a certain amount of Bitcoin. I mean, there's all different forms of identity theft, and in this increasingly digital age that we're in with smart devices and how online everything is, it's more important than ever to kind of familiarize yourself with the different tactics that these hackers use, for lack of a better term, and also figure out how to mitigate your exposure to being a victim yourself.
And so it seemed that even years ago, and fairly recently, that even despite the advances in technology and the way that technology has become a greater factor in our daily life and in every area of our daily life in the past few years, that even just years ago, it was still kind of the common traits of, here's how you prevent identity theft. Don't tell anyone your social security number unless they absolutely need to have it, or you trust them with that information for a legitimate reason. Don't go giving out your credit card information either. Make sure that you know where all this personal information is being stored, and you're very careful with what documents maybe you leave out. Now it's a different story, and people need to be extra vigilant about all of their information, both in a hard copy form, but also in soft copy form on their devices and especially on the web. And do you think, despite all we know about technology today and all that we know about the security risks associated with the technology that we're using in our everyday life, on our smartphones, on our tablets, on our computers, and so on, that people are properly taking seriously the threat of identity theft?
Well, you're absolutely right. Back in the day, you had some good tips. We could largely control that ourselves by simply shredding documents that had account numbers and social security numbers on it, things like that. You could kind of contain it within your own house. Nowadays, we have provided so much information to a various amount of companies, simply just through the course of doing business, that now there is an inherent exposure to those companies. And even if you're not a victim yourself being targeted personally, we've all seen the reports where massive companies will have these large data breaches, and data is out there at a mass level, and who knows if your information is on one of those spreadsheets that's been acquired by nefarious actors. So again, there's, even if you take kind of the right steps to mitigate it within your own household and you're doing all the right things, like on a soft copy, you really can't control what's going on out there on the World Wide Web. So, I have some tips here today that might be able to help you, even free tips that can help you reduce your exposure. And then if you want to get into it, if you do find yourself a victim of identity theft or fraud or cyber extortion attack, there's some solutions out there that are not necessarily free, but might provide you some remedy if you fall victim to it yourself. But the key here, if there's anything to learn, is preventing yourself from being a victim to begin with is far easier than trying to recover your good name after you're already a victim. Yeah,
much easier to take measures before identity theft becomes a problem than to deal with it when it is a problem. We're joined by Kris Hall, certified insurance counselor at the Kleinschmidt Agency, which is a division of Meadowbrook Insurance Agency, joining us on the Megacast. So let's go over some of those tips, because we talked about some of the basic ones that have been commonplace in everyday life for a number of decades as the technological age that we're in now has developed, and as we continue through it. What are some other more modernized tips for preventing identity theft or taking swift action if you believe that your identity may have been breached before it's fully stolen or used for nefarious purposes?
Right. Well, we've all heard the basics, have good passwords, complex passwords, different passwords for each of your logins. Don't use the same password for everything. Have a good, strong Wi-Fi password, and also keep your software updated. The more smart devices you have, the more potential exposure. And if a hacker is able to identify an area where they can get into something very quickly, usually the developer can release a patch that will patch that up. But you got to keep your software updated to take advantage of that. So those are kind of the basic tips. Now, if you want to go a level beyond that, there's something out there called a credit freeze. Okay, so anytime you apply for credit, whether it's through a credit card company or a mortgage or an auto loan, they check your credit by reaching out to one of the 3 credit bureaus, TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian. So you can actually proactively contact them if you don't anticipate applying for any credit in the near future and freeze your credit. I've done it on all 3 of mine. It was free of charge. And then, you know, anytime somebody tries to take out credit in your name, it will be immediately denied. That's probably the strongest free thing that you could do to mitigate becoming a victim of identity fraud yourself. Now, that's not going to affect you if, let's say, somebody wants to steal your tax return. So the best tip that you can have there, and that's actually on the rise. You know, I was looking at the stats here, 3 million people had fraudulent tax returns filed in their name in 2019, the most recent stat. So it's on the rise. File your taxes early, as soon as you can, because it's basically the first one to get to it is the one that gets the refund. So if you wait until March, April to file your taxes, you're just giving that much more time for somebody who might potentially have your data to file ahead of you. So credit freeze and file your taxes early are maybe the 2 biggest tips that I can give you to proactively mitigate your risk.
We're joined by Kris Hall, the certified insurance counselor with the Clenchment Agency, which is a division of Meadowbrook Insurance Agency, joining us on the Megacast. All great tips to help you prevent identity theft as you're taking precautions to lock down your credit file, especially where you have more commonplace breaches of information, or where people are then executing on the information they may obtain. And oftentimes when they are able to execute on that information that they have stolen, and they will apply for credit, or they'll apply for housing, they'll apply for even cell phone plans with your identity information. Oftentimes that can go unnoticed because people are either not regularly checking their credit report or not checking their once yearly free credit report from all 3 agencies to make sure that that information is accurate and address it if it's not. Are there certain steps that people can also take to be alerted when there are those changes on their credit file more swiftly, so that if some action that is out of the ordinary or is definitely not something that is an act that they took, that they can get on top of that quickly and address those issues as soon as possible? Because as you said before, the longer that process goes through, the more damage that these identity thieves can take.
Well, that's right. And in addition, to the tips that you gave, there's several different reporting. You need checking your credit report annually, or staying on top of it just to see if there's open accounts that are appearing without your knowledge is crucial. So you got to make this as part of maybe your annual review as you start to review your finances. Tax season's a great time. The only official website is annualcreditreport.com. That's where you can get a free report. It's government sponsored. It's actually a law that they have to release it to you, and you can check your credit. So annualcreditreport.com. But as you indicated, there are some paid services. We don't typically endorse any of those in particular, but if you pay for a service, we've all heard the big names out there, they will kind of monitor your credit for you. And if they're basically checking your credit report periodically, and then if they notice any changes from the previous day, that's when they're bringing it to your attention. So those are what some of the paid services do. But in my experience, there's really not much that they can do that you can't do yourself if you take a proactive approach. And if you do fall victim to one of these attacks, there are some insurance solutions that you can now put on your homeowner's policy, or if you're renting, your renter's policy. Our industry has responded to the increased threat that we're seeing over the past couple of years, and there's really 2 endorsements that you might want to consider that are, again, inexpensive, $20-30 a year maybe. One in particular is called identity theft coverage. It seems pretty self-explanatory, but what it really is helping you restore your financial identity by reimbursing you for time spent taken off of work. If you have to file documents and things like that, it can reimburse you for those costs. It's a decent endorsement, and it's definitely worth considering, but there's a newer one that's a little more all-encompassing. It's called Home Cyber Protection. You might not have it available yet, but many companies that I work with do have it. It's going to cover what I just mentioned. And typically, it's also going to cover things like cyber extortion. If, again, like I said earlier, if somebody freezes your computer, what do? Well, you can get consultation with an expert to help you negotiate with whoever has locked down your computer. And then if it turns out that you do suffer a loss, the insurance company, usually if you have this endorsement, is going to reimburse you for those costs that you have lost as part of that extortion attempt. So the home cybersecurity endorsement is actually a little more all-encompassing. Those two in particular, if you're looking for an insurance solution, check both of those out as well.
We're joined by Kris Hall, certified insurance counselor with the Kleinschmidt Agency, which is a division of Meadowbrook Insurance Agency, joining us on the Megacast. Of course, you mentioned those two provisions that you can put into either your homeowner's insurance or your renter's insurance to help protect you from identity theft, and some of the steps, of course, that you can also take to check your credit yourself or through some of those paid services. And also what's great as the technology has expanded and we're able to access more information online that we previously had to go into brick and mortar locations at our banks or at our insurance agencies or at other places that may be our creditors. We're able to do a lot of that online too, and even the credit bureaus will have ability for you to make a login on their websites and log your information in, create an account, and put alerts so that if there are changes such as a credit inquiry or a opening of a new account, that you're able to put those alerts on those with those credit bureaus to alert you as well by email or by phone or by multiple different outlets, so that at the very least you have that information coming to you and know when there are changes. You can check them and either make sure, okay, I applied for a loan for buying a new car, or I applied to rent an apartment, and that inquiry has popped up on my Experian credit file. Now I'm getting an email from Experian about a credit inquiry. Instead, you can check that and say, okay, that's good, that was me, versus American Express has popped up on there. I've never applied for credit with them. That's a concern. Now I need to go take action on that. So there's a lot of other steps that you can take as well. And so you mentioned a couple of those protections from the insurance side of things that are starting to become more commonplace in insurance policies, particularly homeowners and renters insurance. What are some of the rules if someone does lose money from a financial institution because of their identity being stolen? Can those monies be reimbursed, and kind of what is the common process and result of taking those actions to reverse the criminal actions that have been taken using your identity?
Another great question. So if you do find yourself a victim of, somebody stealing your financial information, the first thing you want to do is call and file what's called a fraud alert on each of your credit cards, all of your checking accounts, anything that involves finances. You want to file a fraud alert. That way they're on notice. They put a little flag on your account that can help you stay in the loop with them if they have any new inquiries and things like that. A lot of people may not realize this, but credit cards, not all of them, but a lot of them, as a benefit to their customers, will actually cover you if you have fraudulent charges placed on your card. I've actually experienced this myself. A $2,500 charge from a big retail store in Chicago, Illinois, while I'm here in Southeast Michigan. So they actually reached out to me, and within 10 minutes that was taken off of my credit card statement. So credit cards have an incentive to do that. However, if somebody gets a hold of your PIN number for your checking account or your account and routing number in particular, that is much, much more difficult to recover. So if just long story short, checking accounts are more exposed than credit card information in general, because it's much harder to seek remedy if you do find yourself a victim of having your money taken directly out of your checking account. So in particular with that information, close guard your checking account information, more so than anything, really.
Yeah, and it's like anything else with your personal information. You need to be checking, or with your finances or anything else that's important that you need to be keeping regular tabs on. You need to be checking in with all those things regularly, even if you don't believe that there should be anything wrong that's happening, or you don't believe that anything seems out of whack from your basic checks here and there. You want to check in just to make sure, and really go into detail with your bank account, especially your checking account, because of the more minimal protections that are in place for recovery if you are to become a victim of theft of some kind, and your credit file as well. We're joined by Kris Hall, a certified insurance counselor with the Kleinschmidt Agency, which is a division of Meadowbrook Insurance Agency, joining us on the Megacast. Anything else at this time that our audience should be keeping in mind as we are here in National Identity Theft Awareness Week about cybercrime or identity theft, prevention tactics or mitigation tactics that they should be keeping in mind going forward?
You know, I'll just reiterate what I said from the start. Being proactive about it is so much easier than falling victim to it. So freeze your credit if you're not using it. By the way, you can unfreeze your credit anytime as well. So if you plan to apply for a loan, you can unfreeze and freeze it again. So that's one tactic that you can be proactive about. Also, you know, make sure, again, really everything we talked about in this conversation is crucial. Have strong passwords. Don't use the same passwords over and over again. And if you find yourself a victim, proactively reach out to all your banks and financial institutions and ask what they can do to help you prevent the breach from getting even worse.
Well, Kris, we thank you very much for joining us and giving us all these helpful tips as we are here in the middle of National Identity Theft Awareness Week. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Appreciate it. Again, you can learn more information about identity theft, including the tactics that you can take, steps that you can take if your identity is stolen, as well as prevention tactics and some of those services, as well as protections available through the government, through the credit bureaus, through creditors themselves, by visiting identitytheft.gov. That is identitytheft.gov. We're going to take a break. On the other side, if you are dealing with identity theft, if you're dealing with the frustrations of fixing that issue, or just the frustrations of checking all of these different accounts and keeping up to date on keeping your online security and your home technology security up to date. It can be frustrating, and sometimes you got to take those frustrations out. And a great place to do that is in a rage room, and we have a couple of them here in southeastern Michigan, in Madison Heights and in Farmington with the Escape Room Zone. We'll be joined by their district manager, Carrie Kaz, next to talk about their two rage room locations in southeastern Michigan, all of their escape rooms and more. That's coming up. You're watching and listening to the Megacast.
When times get dark, we can't see the help that's all around us. When you don't know where to turn, let 211 be your guiding light.
How can I help you?
Our guides are ready to connect you with the help you need. For help with food, healthcare, mental health, and other resources, call 211 or visit 211.org. 211. Get connected, get help.
We may come from different organizations,
but we work together to protect the Huron River for everyone.
Neighborhood storm drains carry water directly to local creeks and streams. No filters, no treatment.
Storm drains also help reduce street flooding when it rains.
So clearing storm drains and the areas nearby of trash and leaves helps keep them for rain only.
It is easy to do your part by adopting a storm drain.
Find a storm drain, check it, and clear it every month.
So keep storm drains for rain only.
There's one water, and it's ours to protect.
If you are struggling to afford your internet bills during the pandemic, there's a temporary government program that may be able to help. It's called the Emergency Broadband Benefit, and it provides up to a $50 monthly discount on your broadband bill to qualifying households. Find more information about the program, including if you qualify and how to enroll, at fcc.gov/broadbandbenefit, or call toll-free at 833-511-0311.
A public service announcement from 89.3 Lakes FM. Joining me now is Carrie Kaz, the district manager of Escape Room Zone and Azra Haunted House. With us on the Megacast, Carrie, thank you for being with us today.
Hey, thanks for inviting me. I'm happy to be here.
Appreciate having you on. So Escape Room Zone has locations in many places here in southeastern Michigan and in mid-Michigan as well. Farmington, Madison Heights, Waterford, Canton, Chesterfield, and Battle Creek. Visitors can come in also in the Farmington and Madison Heights location. And as you say on their website, destroy everything in sight in one of your rage rooms. It's a trend that's picking up all throughout the U.S. and around the world, certainly here in Metro Detroit. For those that are not familiar with the term rage room or the concept of a rage room, what is it and what can they expect to experience if they decide to go to your rage rooms, either in Farmington or in Madison Heights?
So with the rage room, it's a 20-minute smashing therapy session. Essentially, you come in, we do a little bit of safety briefing. You pick a playlist of 20 minutes, 20, 30 minutes long. We suit you up in all the safety gear. We have like these Tyvek painter suits, goggles, gloves, booties, all that good stuff. We put you in a room that's roughly 15 by 15 with a bunch of breakable items, 20 to 25 admission price, and give you a baseball bat, crowbar, a sledgehammer, and you basically do what you think you're going to do. You smash everything in sight. It's a good time.
So what are some of people's favorite items to smash? Because I would imagine, like you said, you have all these different tools that they can use to smash things with, but there's also all these different smashable items as well. What do people usually go to as their go-to items to start off with?
You know, if you've never like frisbeed a plate at the wall, you're missing out in life. All the bins that you get are randomized by the day, so you never really know what you're going to get in there. Ceramic dishes. I see a lot of people bring in their own stuff, as well as, the stuff that we give you. A lot of printers come through my doors. A lot of fax machines. I don't know if they're watching Office Space. Remember that movie? Yeah. I don't really know what they're thinking with that. I see a toilet from time to time. That seems to be, putting a sledgehammer through a toilet. Everyone should do that once,
Yeah, that's. I'm sure there's plenty of interesting things that people will continue to bring in and will continue to want to smash over there at your escape room zone in both Farmington and Madison Heights, where you also have this rage room. So you mentioned that they are roughly 20-minute sessions. I would imagine it's a lot of cleanup for your staff as well. So are these sessions usually back to back, or how much separation is there between these sessions that people are signing up for?
So they run every 30 minutes. Saturdays are the most popular day, so we're running from 12 noon to midnight. They're every 30 minutes, and I got 4 rooms here at Madison Heights, 3 rooms at Farmington, and they're running back to back. So, you figure I can have 2 players per rage room per 30 minutes. That's 8 players that are coming through our door every 30 minutes. That's a lot of consumables. It's a lot of glass to sweep up, but our staff is trained. It usually, honestly, it only takes about 5-10 minutes of a turnaround. So as one of our safety instructors is briefed the next group, the other group is getting cleaned up, or the other room rather, is getting cleaned up and prepped and ready to go. It's pretty streamlined.
We're joined by Carrie Kaz, the district manager at Escape Room Zone and Nazareth Haunted House. You can learn more information by visiting their website at escaperoom-zone.com. That is escaperoom-zone.com to learn more about booking a room at any of their locations, including those rage rooms over at the Farmington and Madison Heights locations, as well as mobile escape experiences, team building experiences, and more. All of that on their website, escaperoom-zone.com, to learn more information. So you mentioned that this is kind of a therapeutic session for people. People go in there, of course, to release some of that pent-up rage that they get from daily life, and maybe even some of that rage they have for certain items in their home or in their office that have malfunctioned for the final time. What have you heard about the psychology behind some of these rage rooms, including the ones that you have in your 2 locations, but that are also becoming, for lack of better terms, all the rage all throughout the U.S.?
So, originally this trend started in New York, Chicago, Los Angeles many, many years ago. We were one of the first to bring it to Michigan. When we all got together and decided to do a rage room, it was more like a novelty attraction, if you will, where now, growing the rage concept here in Metro Detroit, I didn't really see the psychology, honestly, at first, but now when you meet these people, you meet people with different personal issues at home, whether it be a loss in the family, marital issues, things that are just going on in the local community. You see people leave the doors here in the rage room, and you just see the expression change on their face. They really needed it. And it's something we're still trying to develop and trying to better that experience. And then you've got the mom and dad who want to bring their kid out for just a Saturday novelty activity. And, the number one thing I see in the rage rooms is people will go, I'm not angry. I don't need that. And then they get in there 20 minutes later, they're even happier than a clam. I didn't know I needed that was the number one phrase I hear. And it's so shocking to see how many people will the next week come back and do another session. Next day, I've had a guy, several gentlemen and ladies call me 2 a.m., 3 a.m. Hey, I need a session right now. We need to do this. And it's bizarre, but I'm glad that we've got it. We're helping people.
And so when the items are broken and after those sessions are complete, where do they go from there? Because some of them, as you mentioned, they're technological items. Some of them are other household items, such as even toilets. And so some of them, there's obviously going to be some sanitary implications. There may be some environmental implications. And a lot of these things you have to have special procedures to throw out, even when you're not smashing them. So what process do you go through after the fact to make sure that these items are being are being disposed of properly?
So it's amazing for a 20-minute session, the amount of prep that it takes and the amount of after math, if you will, it takes, like you're saying, with the disposal is crazy. I've got a team of guys who just go and find all the stuff for me. Afterwards, because it's such a variety of stuff, my team goes through and we divide everything. We recycle what can be recycled. A lot of the electronics, if they can get recycled, sometimes it's filled in with the ceramics and glass. So it's just kind of a combined. I work with the city closely here, and a trash removal company. They help me out with the stuff that can't be salvaged, can't be recycled. But we do our best to basically break everything apart. If we can keep electronics and ceramics, glass apart, we do what we can. But everything's properly disposed of afterwards. That way everybody wins.
We're joined by Carrie Kaz, the District Manager of Escape Room Zone and Azra Haunted House, joining us on the Megacast again. More information on their website at escaperoom-zone.com. That is escaperoom-zone.com. And so you mentioned safety, of course, being a critical element of this, both before, during, and after the Rage Room experience. For those that are preparing for their appointment at one of your Rage Rooms, either in Farmington or in Madison Heights, what should they be wearing? What should they do to prepare themselves so that they're putting themselves in the safest position possible, on top of the training and instructions that are provided by your company?
So what to wear? Wear something breathable, flexible. You're in these Tyvek-y painter suits, kind of like hazmat suits they look like. And those babies don't breathe, man. They get so hot, you get so sweaty. So be comfortable, be flexible. You're gonna be swinging a baseball bat. Think like you're going to the gym. I see a lot of people come through the doors wearing open-toed footwear. Why they think that's a good idea in a rage room, I don't know. So obviously, protect yourself. There will be glass flying at high velocity. The room. We give you as much safety gear. We never, knock on wood, we never see any accidents here. We're pretty on top of the safety, but do that due diligence before you arrive and make sure you're wearing breathable, flexible, comfortable clothing.
So on top of course, the Rage Rooms at your two locations in Madison Heights and in Farmington, of course, you have many escape room experiences as well, and Escape Room Zone at all those locations. Can you tell us about some of the different escape room experiences that people can expect to experience across all the different locations of Escape Room Zone?
Yeah, so one of the coolest things about Escape Room Zone, obviously we've got multiple, as you were talking, Tyler, we've got multiple facilities. A lot of other escape room companies that you see, they might have 5 or 6 rooms that they've created and they repeat through all their locations. All 6 of our stores, all 29 of our rooms, except for one, which I'll talk about in a second, they're all completely different games. We've got something for the young and young at heart, mom, dad, grandpa, date night. I've got anything from Enchanted Forest. Think of like Indiana Jones, if you remember that show, Legends of the Hidden Temple from when we were kids. Think of that combined. That's Mystical Forest. That's probably the thunder you hear in the background at my Madison Heights store. Farmington, I've got stuff called Zombie Bomb, Meltdown, which is all based around the Fallout series if you play video games, where you have to find your Pit Boy and you go through the wasteland. Things from classic horror to fairy tale, fantasy, Alcatraz, where you're locked in a prison. And then the only one that the theme kind of repeats is our bank heist, but it's 2 different bank facilities, 2 different stores, same theme. I mean, you're robbing a bank. Who doesn't want to rob a bank? But they're 2 completely different games. So, I mean, you could go through, we'll keep you busy for a while with 29 different games.
What's interesting, too, is on top of your several different locations throughout the state of Michigan for Escape Room Zone, you also have mobile escapes as well. Tell us about that experience experience, how that differs from the escape room experience at one of your brick and mortar locations, and how people can get access to some of these mobile escapes.
Yeah, so we've got 2 different mobile escapes that we're running right now. Secret to the Pharaoh Tomb, which what's cool about the mobile escape in general, before I get really into the themes, is they're customizable on times. They're customizable on size. They're literally just a tent that we pop up. The wall panels on the tent are all custom printed, custom themed. We bring electronic props, as you would see in one of the brick and mortar stores. And I can do a 5-minute game, I can do a 10-minute game, I can do a 30-minute game, I can do an hour game. They comfortably hold up to about 10 players, and depending, we see them for like rad parties, senior all-night parties. I've done a couple weddings with them. So a variety of things where people would want to have the escape come to them. My other game is more like a zombie apocalypse game I've got, where you're trying to find the cure. You found the last known science tent, if you will, and you have to ingest the cure to defeat the zombie apocalypse. That one's a little bit smaller, still all custom themed. It's a cool game, depending what, if you want more of a family friendly game. If Halloween, the zombie one obviously goes out a bunch. All the information on dates that it's available, because it does book up quickly, pricing, all that stuff, you go on our website, like you said, escaperoom-zone.com, check everything out from there. I got pictures, I got videos if you Google it on YouTube, all that good stuff.
Again, the website, escaperoom-zone.com. You can also call to book your mobile escape experience or ask any questions you may have by calling 734-355-9900. That's 734-355-9900. And again, the website, escaperoom-zone.com/mobile-escapes. We're joined by Carrie Kaz, the district manager of Escape Room Zone and Azra Haunted House, joining us on the Megacast. And Carrie, our producer here, the king of television himself, Larry Nyland, has told me you're also a magician and an illusionist. Can you tell us about your magic? And then I also, to understand, you have a presentation for us.
Yeah. I was talking with Larry. He reached out via email. He's like, "Are you the same Carrie that's also a magician, illusionist?" I go, "Yeah, that's me." So I mean, the magic, virtually toured 39 different countries, was part of one of the largest tour and illusion shows by Guinness Book. Did that, my early teens and 20s. And, when you do that for a billion years, eventually you're like, I don't want to. When you wake up every night and you're in a different hotel and you have no idea where you're at, you're like, no, I want to go home, man. I just want to relax and have a life. So that's when I joined up with Escape Room Zone. And, I've gotten to use a lot of my magical know-how, my special effects know-how to be implemented in the games. And, magic as a whole, it's a novelty art form, but it's all about the experience. I want to show you something. I want to convey a message. Same with escapes. When we transport you into one of these games, we want you to really feel like you are a lost item. We want you're running from a mummy. Dracula's right on top of you. So it's a good marriage hand in hand. And as far as presentation goes, Larry asked if I could do something. I said, yeah. Sure. I'm all about just regular things. If I bring out a deck of cards, Tyler, you might say, hey, that's a rigged deck of cards. If I bring out a big box and put a beautiful lady in it, paper towel. You can't get more, regular Joe Schmo than a piece of paper towel. I'll try to do this in frame here. I haven't done this on a screen in a while. We'll take the paper towel, and then paper towel's natural enemy, fire.
Of course.
Kids at home, don't try this at home.
Right.
Go to your neighbor's house.
That's what I usually do, yes.
Do this right in front of your eyes here, because if we did it behind your eyes, that's wherever it's their head. Watch closely. Goes away.
Oh.
Never happened.
Well.
Easy peasy.
Very nice.
So simple stuff like that. And it's, like I was saying, we try to bring that same type of wonderment, experience, joy into the games. And, it's a beautiful marriage between my magic and the escapes.
Carrie, anything else for us today that you'd like our audience to learn about Escape Room Zone or about the Azra Haunted House before we let you go?
A lot of people are still new to the escape experience. Come on out, try it for yourself. Tyler, I'd love to have you come do a rage room. I'll get with Larry. We'll sync it up. Come try it. Let everybody know on your experience what you thought of it. If anybody has anything, visit the website. And I really look forward to seeing you guys at one of the stores.
Yeah, we have a good time over here at our flagship station at Civic Center TV, destroying cardboard boxes as a little bit of a mini rage room experience before we, of course, dispose of them in one of the dumpsters out back. So I'm sure we'd very much enjoy one of the rage room experiences.
Yeah, everybody, come on over. Larry's got my email. Set it up. Let's come on over. Let's have a good time.
Absolutely. Thank you for joining us, Gary.
Thank you for having me, guys.
We as Michiganders feel connected to this resource in a way that I think is really powerful.
Conservation starts with a caring, committed community.
For me, it's peaceful to have a relationship with the river.
Every single one of us has a role to make sure that those waterways stay safe and healthy, being careful about what goes down the storm drain.
Just even eliminating some of your single-use plastic makes a difference.
There's one water, and it's ours to protect.
Did you know that nearly 3.31 million Americans don't get their annual checkup? Going to the doctor regularly is extremely important and is a crucial factor in maintaining good health. Make sure you are visiting your local doctor often and telling them about any health concerns you have. For more information, contact your local healthcare provider. This message is brought to you by WBHS Digital Media Arts Program and 89.3 Lakes FM.
People are getting out to walk and bike in higher numbers. More vulnerable road users and higher speed traffic can be a dangerous combination. Crash severity has increased, so if you're driving, be sure to slow down and look for people. There's no need to speed. If you're biking, ride with traffic. If you're walking, avoid stepping into the road if possible. If you have to walk in the street, walk facing traffic. Learn more at walkbikedrivesafe.org.
When times get dark, we can't see the help that's all around us. When you don't know where to turn, let 211 be your guiding light.
How can I help you?
Our guides are ready to connect you with the help you need. For help with food, healthcare, mental health, and other resources. Call 211 or visit 211.org. 211. Get connected, get help.
Parents do a lot of worrying. Get your kids caught up on childhood vaccines to protect them from these 14 preventable diseases, and you'll have 14 fewer things to worry about. Vaccines are safe and effective and save lives. So let's get caught up on vaccines and worry about something else. Get the facts at ivaccinate.org.
We may come from different organizations,
But we work together to protect the Huron River for everyone.
Most of the pollution that goes into our rivers is carried by rainwater that flows off of roads, parking lots, and rooftops.
The leaves and bark of a single tree can retain a surprising amount of rainwater. Depending on its size and species, it could be 100 gallons or more.
It is estimated that an urban forest can reduce annual runoff by up to 7%.
Here's one thing that we know can help keep our water clean.
Plant a tree.
Plant a tree.
Plant a tree.
There's one water, and it's ours to protect.
One of the things you can look for in your friends is a change in behavior.
These can be big changes, they can be small changes in mood, physical appearance.
They may be sleeping less or sleeping more, drinking more, or their eating patterns may be different.
One big change that can be pretty obvious is change in motivation. Do they no longer want to play basketball? Do they no longer want to play video games?
Now that we're spending more time online and in virtual settings, it's really important to pay attention to the language that your friend is using and the words they're using to communicate.
So when we text our friends, are they taking longer amounts of time to respond? Are they not responding at all? You don't have to be an expert to try to recognize these signs. The second that you feel it in your gut and that you're concerned, that's the second to have the conversation and open the door to what might be going on.
Whatever gets you talking.
Welcome back to the Megacast. I'm Tyler Keefe. You can learn more about the show by visiting our website at civiccentertv.com and clicking on our Megacast link. You'll find links to each and every one of our partnering TV, radio, and web outlets, as well as find all of our shows and each interview on demand. civiccentertv.com/Megacast. Joining us now is Nichole Ferguson Bostick from the West Bloomfield Diversity Task Force. Joining us on the Megacast. Nichole, thank you for being with us today.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
I appreciate having you on. So tell us first about the West Bloomfield Diversity Task Force. How did that come to be, and then what are some of the objectives of the task force here in the township?
Well, the task force was originally kind of created and started by a fellow resident, and who happens to be a West Bloomfield Parks Commissioner as well, Vincent Kirkwood. Just went to Kelly Heyer, who's the park superintendent, and said, you know, we should be West Bloomfield is so diverse, and we should be celebrating that diversity. And we started off last year by doing a couple events, and it turned out really well. They were very well received, and that's how kind of like the task force got started. And it's just, I think, Kelly Heyer, and first shout out to West Bloomfield Parks and Rec for even just sending out notifications that they were making this task force, and for residents to come together and how we can celebrate diversity in our community. So big shout out to them. But that's kind of how it got started, and this is the second year, and we have a lot of events planned for this month.
And so, as you mentioned, many events coming up this month, including the Black History 101 Mobile Museum that will be happening this week, Saturday, at the West Bloomfield Township Public Library. Can you tell us about that event, and then give us an overview of some of the other events that will be held by the West Bloomfield Township Diversity Task Force in the coming weeks and months?
Well, the mobile museum is pretty big. It's actually it's originated in Detroit, and the Dr. Khalid Haikam actually goes all throughout the country with the mobile museum. So that should be a nice treat. That's happening this Saturday from 12 to 3. Hopefully we'll get a really good turnout for that. There's some really cool artifacts, and there's going to be a lecture, and it should be a really good showing. One of the events that I'm that I'm leading is the Love Yourself, and it's Wellness by Black event. And I'm really excited about that event. And it's February the 12th, and it's gonna be from 9 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. And that should be a really fun-filled morning. We're gonna have table discussions, round table discussions. We're gonna have a nutritionist there, a psychologist, an MD, a doctor there. The fitness portion there, since I'll be teaching yoga, but we're going to offer hustle lessons and also Zumba lessons as well. So that's going to be really exciting. We're going to have goodie bags and smoothies, and it's going to be a real treat for those who come out and attend. And some of the other things that we're having that we did last year, we did an interview with the history of Tuskegee Airmen, and we have a really dynamic speaker for that. And it's just an opportunity to learn about a lot of the Black aviators from that time. And who's the person who's going to be speaking from there is, I think it's Major William H. Burnett. Yeah. And he also participated last year. And then we're going to end the month with a really big bang at the Black Expo that we're having at Orchard Lake Mall. And that's going to be like from 10 to 2. And before it kind of started off kind of slow, but then we have so many people that businesses, Black businesses that are attending that have registered. So that should be really exciting. And we might have the West Bloomfield High School band perform. And it's going to be some fun-filled Saturdays in February.
We're joined by Nichole Ferguson Bostick from the West Bloomfield Township Diversity Task Force, joining us on the Megacast. Many of those upcoming events, she spoke about the first one this Saturday, February 5th, from noon to 3 p.m. at the West Bloomfield Township Public Library. Black History 101 Mobile Museum will be there. Registration for residents is for residents only, and opens to non-residents earlier on this year in January. So more information by visiting wblib.org. That's the township's library website. Also, the Love Yourself Wellness While Black event for ages 16 and up. That'll be Saturday, February 12th, a week from this Saturday, 9 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. at Connect at Orchard Mall. That is a free event there over at the Orchard Mall at Connect. And then the virtual history of the Tuskegee Airmen. That's open to all ages with speaker Major Bill Burnett from, of course, the Macon Thomas West Bloomfield chapter of the Tuskegee Airmen. That will be on February 16th from 7 to 8:30 via Zoom. You can pre-register for the event to receive the link. And then, as you said, lastly, the Black Expo at the Orchard Mall, February 26th from 10 a.m. until 2 p.m. That's, again, at the Orchard Mall, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., February 26th for the Black Expo. You can learn more information at wbparks.org. And to sponsor the event, contact either Megan Kernat or Kelly Heyer at WB Parks. That's M. Kernat, MKURNAT at WBparks.org, or K. Heyer, KHYER at WBparks.org. And so, Nichole, if people want to get involved with the Diversity Task Force in the future to plan other future events beyond Black History Month this year, and of course for next year and all in between as well, or just get involved with the work of the task force here in the township, how can they go about getting involved?
I'm Kelly Heyer, and you mentioned her email address, and it's KHYER at WBparks.org. And we're accepting members. We're reaching out to residents to be a part of this task force. We hope to hold more events all throughout the year, and we're actually working on the Juneteenth celebration coming up in June. So we're looking for people to be a part of that task force and to make it a really well-rounded event.
And so, have there been any plans that have come forth for that Juneteenth event? Do you have any idea at this time when that's going to be taking place, where that's going to be taking place, and some of the activities that people may be able to experience? Just to preview it, of course, several months down the road.
Well, I can't wait to come back and talk to you about that, but they are finalizing the website, and the website will, I don't have the website address just yet, but we plan on making it a pretty big celebration. And last year was amazing. It was at the high school, and there were a lot of vendors, a lot of associations. I think we had like Corvette owners, we had arts and crafts for the kids, we had music. It was very well-rounded last year. So I think it's just going to be a nicer, bigger, better version this upcoming June.
Well, Nichole,
so more information to follow.
Well, Nichole, we appreciate your time. Thank you for telling us about the task force, about this partnership between, of course, the West Bloomfield Township, West Bloomfield Parks, and the West Bloomfield Township Public Library as well, and previewing all these events coming up during Black History Month, including this weekend on Saturday, February 5th, the Black History 101 Mobile Museum at the Township Library. Next week, Saturday, the Wellness While Black event, Love Yourself, at Connect at the Orchard Mall. That'll be February 12th, 9 to 11:30 a.m. Over there at Connect. And then, of course, the Tuskegee Airmen Virtual History, February 16th, 7 to 8:30 via Zoom. Learn more information at wblib.org. And the Black Expo, February 26th at the Orchard Mall from 10 a.m. until 2 p.m. Nichole, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you. Take care.
You as well. We're going to take a quick break here on the Megacast. We'll come back. We'll wrap things up for today and thank everyone who was involved in today's edition of the Megacast. That's all coming up next. You're watching and listening to the Megacast.
Today, it is easier than ever to join Michigan's Organ Donor Registry and help build a bridge of hope for organ, tissue, and eye donation. Just one person can potentially save or help improve the lives of up to 75 people. By joining, your legacy could be the gift of life. Sign up today at michigan.gov/SOS or at any of the more than 145 Secretary of State self-service stations located across Michigan. Be part of Michigan's Bridge of Hope by adding your name to the Organ Donor Registry.
When times get dark, we can't see the help that's all around us. When you don't know where to turn, let 211 be your guiding light.
211, how can I help you?
Our guides are ready to connect you with the help you need. For help with food, healthcare, mental health, and other resources. Call 211 or visit 211.org. 211. Get connected, get help.
If you are struggling to afford your internet bills during the pandemic, there's a temporary government program that may be able to help. It's called the Emergency Broadband Benefit, and it provides up to a $50 monthly discount on your broadband bill to qualifying households. Find more information about the program, including if you qualify and how to enroll, at fcc.gov/broadbandbenefit or call toll-free at 833-511-0311.
A public service announcement from 89.3 Lakes FM.
Whether you're the city,
the county,
or the Huron River Watershed Council,
we work together to protect water resources for everyone.
Most of the pollution entering our rivers is carried by rainwater that runs off roads, parking lots, and rooftops.
A rain garden helps catch stormwater runoff.
Rain gardens and their plants help dirty runoff soak into the ground.
You can do your part to help keep our water clean.
Learn about rain gardens and native plants.
So consider a rain garden in your home landscaping.
Catch the runoff with a rain garden.
There's one water, and it's ours to protect.
I couldn't breathe at all. There was lots of talk about putting me on a ventilator. I thought I was gonna die. I was 39 weeks pregnant and had a scheduled C-section. During that time, I got COVID and was hospitalized for a month. I had a blood clot in my lungs. It caused me to go into right-sided heart failure. I was really scared. I kept texting my husband and my mom, telling them how scared I was, and I was worried that he was gonna grow up without a mom. And then I was worried if, when I did get home, that he wouldn't know who I was. You know, being 27 and a mom and a wife and having that all almost taken away from me. It's scary, and if a vaccine can prevent that from happening, why not? Get your vaccine. I don't want this to happen to anybody else.
Welcome back to the Megacast. I'm Tyler Keith. You can learn more about the show by visiting our website at civiccentertv.com/Megacast, where you'll find links to all of our partnering television, radio, and web outlets that join us Monday through Friday live from 10 a.m. to 12 noon, as well as throughout the afternoon for replays and live to tape. And find all of our interviews and our full shows on demand as well. Big thank you to all of our guests for joining us on today's edition of the Megacast. Nichole Ferguson Bostick from the West Bloomfield Diversity Task Force, Carrie Kaz, the District Manager of Escape Room Zone, and the Azra Haunted House for joining us as well on the show. A big thank you also to Kris Hall from the Kleinschmidt Agency for talking to us about National Identity Theft Awareness Week. Tara Thomasik-Husak from the Troy Chamber of Commerce, as well as David Reinke and Erica Gunaca from the Farmington Players as they previewed Tokens of Affection beginning on February 11th at the Farmington Players. Again, you can find all these interviews if you're just tuning in and you missed our show, you missed some of these interviews earlier on today in our program, by visiting our website at civiccentertv.com/Megacast. Scrolling to the bottom of the page, usually by mid to late afternoon, we have all of our interviews and our full shows as well uploaded to our YouTube page and to our website, so you can view the Megacast on demand on your time if you can't join us for the full 2-hour program, or you want to just view certain interviews that are most pertinent to you or most interesting to you and your lifestyle. You can do that. civiccentertv.com/Megacast. Highly encourage you also to go to our coronavirus page for up-to-date information on COVID-19 from the CDC, the MDHHS, the Oakland County Health Division, and many of our local municipalities in our county of origin here in Oakland County, and to read our articles making headlines each and every day, including that article from the Detroit News with some updates on snowfall projections from throughout the state of Michigan on this snowy Wednesday, and as we head into what's expected to also be a very snowy Thursday, at least the initial portions of the day. Big thank you to our crew as well for all their help today. Calvin Brown, our technical director, with me in the studio each and every day, 10 a.m. to 12 noon. The king of television, Larry Nyland, our producer, getting all of our guests booked on the show and ready to go each and every day. Maddie Mushkin as well, out at Master Control, helping us both on and off the air during each of our shows. Steve Lato Live is next on My Michigan TV. We'll be back tomorrow at 10 a.m.